I used to live not far from two of the antique centres in Liverpool where they auction stuff off, mainly police stuff, antique furniture, etc. One was Uthwaite and Litherlands, and the other one was Hartley's and Moss Street. And I lived round the corner, and how I got in, I was sitting in Hartley's to keep warm, because in the winter I was sitting. Old Mr. Hartley would come in with his big hat on and his big walking stick, and he'd sit there at the end like a hawk, watching every penny coming in. So over the years, doing that, walking around, going in these places, I got to know the prices.
Hi, hello, yes, yes.
When I first got my stall, there was two reasons. One was I wasn't fantastically well, I had a bit of heart trouble. And the second thing, I wanted to be more secure, inside, safety, because the world's changed and we know today you can't put anything down or leave a door open as you could maybe many years ago when people had nothing. That's probably the reason why. Well, you could not leave your door or anything, so you have to secure yourself. Not only that, it gave you a more regulated life, and you didn't have to carry your stuff in now because you had your storeroom. And
It's beautiful.
I have to constantly change my bits of goods and stuff, because when you're selling items, there's so many people today, they put their items out and there's the same thing in the same spot in the same area. So you go to some of these markets today and you'll walk in, you'll see the same maybe car tyre, it'll be in the same position. But in the old days you have to regenerate and move your stuff around. So I went on the markets and had a few little basic plans, and the first plan was I'd had a few failures, Once I was in a little small market, it was in Plank Lane in Wigan, where I only took about a couple of shilling that day. And it used to be a club where the likes of Ken Dodd and people used to do a show at the weekend. And I changed track that day because I went home and looked at my bank account, I had £13 in, no money, very little money coming in. So then I changed. I think it was my son said to me, why don't you change, try somewhere else? So I said, go on, we'll try Preston. And that was when I realised there was diversity in markets. No two markets are the same. No two set of people are the same. I didn't realise I had the expertise because I'd spent my lifetime, a long time, in auctions. The real auctions when they were antiques and not the modern version of auctions. So people used to come to me and say, what's that? Where's that come from? How much is it worth? So I used to give a bit of advice. And in return I would go to them. And I would say, how much do you want for that? And what do you want for this? So slowly but surely I built a business up and a bit of a clientele. Because people used to come and ask me advice and stuff. To be on this store, selling jewellery, in a long ways now. It's changed a lot in regards to this way it's set up. But overall it was always a good market, and even today, the highest market in England, which it is, it's never changed on the inside. It's still quite busy because it's on a Wednesday. This used to be my store 20 years ago, but in them days we were that way, and we all faced in the road going down, and it was wonderful to stand here. And as you can see, it's on a bit of a hill here, so you have to, if I'm that way, that's the reason why. But it's changed a bit. It's Wednesday afternoon, the store's not being used today. Most of the stores are very enjoyable time, early to be like on the markets. Good people, tough markets in them days, but I'll definitely say that Oldham market has definitely improved a lot on what it used to be. There's happiness already, someone's singing away, having a good time. So I'm really pleased to be back here and having a look. They are saying, where can you find that? Isn't that wonderful? One of the shops Michael used to run, which he doesn't run anymore. This is a nice little flower shop, and further back there's the Fagan he used to run. He's still around, he's still alive, but unfortunately he doesn't do these two businesses anymore. But as you can see, they're still flourishing and they're still doing well in Oldham. The market surprised me in the modern time how it's sustaining itself, and it's really a credit to the town that it's moving along. And I only left because I thought for better things, but I'm not so sure now. It's really improved the market, and people's faces I recognise, but I don't remember the names of some of them. And I'm really impressed the way the market's improved. It's been tremendous by everybody concerned.
Seven, lover.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And I don't know if you know the story of the train. The train pulls in the station and I got on with you now. But when we got on that train, her mum and dad was on. And so was her brother Albert, and so was her other brother Jimmy, and so was my family members. And as that train got to every station, some people got off. And then our Liz would come on board. Went to the next station and our Barry come on board. And then Louise, Rachel and everybody else got on board, and then other people were getting off. Nan got off, everyone got off. And then your grandmother, your grandfather, your brothers, my wife, they all got off. So in my generation, your mum's side, your nan, there's 5 of them there, they've all gone. Now, I think about that and I think, my God, that bloody hurts. But then I think, my God, it's never, they're not gone, because half of me is in you. Half of me is in my kids, all my kids have got half your nan and half me. So you look at that and you think, well, that's how I deal with that. I deal with the fact that it's an everlasting seed. Spirit's there, soul's there, heart's there, and some people can say, well, they're in the grave and mine's upstairs. So basically nothing's changed, it's just thought, and it's hard when you can't speak. I had to, first of all, look at it. It was a shock, wasn't a shock, because she'd been ill a couple of weeks, months before that, where we'd been in the hospital, and the doctor said to me, whoa, they were panicked a bit in the resuscitation, and they brought her back. She didn't go anywhere, but she was like, she was up and down, she had low and high blood pressure, which is a sign of organ failure. So, if I could roll the clock back, I knew what was going to happen without realising, because for many, many years, we've had that where she had my chest tight, I don't feel so good tonight, but we overrode them all. But this was one too many. When she told me on a Sunday night that her chest was tight, I always put it down to being the same. This is the show, that's the garden centre. So when I come round here, this is the church. I was told not to sing aloud in that church by Brother Wilfred, but that was the house. That was the dormitory, that's where the Brothers of Charity lived. As you can see, it was called St Edward's Orphanage. In 1933, it was open to a massive big crowd. Just before it was open, people were allowed to walk through, so it was a day out for people of Liverpool. They walked through the tunnel. All these rails down the side you can see, that's a rail where women used to clean and polish these sides in the 30s, and you can imagine all the fumes coming through here. And now it must have been awful for their health and the lungs, and they'd come along here and wipe with mops and different things and work in this tunnel. The tunnel is roughly 3 or 4 miles long, about 4.5 miles long, and it comes out into the town centre. We can get out here. I'm going to try and stop here if I can, because if you don't, just get in here for a second. Anyone in Liverpool that met and got married, they met in the Locarno. That's where they met. And they still do music and everything else. You're coming round here, see, we lived in number 45 Dyke Street. We lived somewhere here there. Because Dykey from there, I'd walk up that road, let me have a look here. We lived here, this is where we lived. This is where our Barry was born.
Put them in there for you, Mike. You put them with your ring. Honesty is the best policy because it's a short. If you can be honest in life, and it's not always easy with people, it's the best policy to be honest. Because that way everybody feels the feel-good factor, and one person's misery might be your joy, but only for so long, because you know it wasn't yours in the beginning. So total is 4 times.
All right.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
You look after yourself. Morning.
No, last time we came you were empty, and by the time we went we were all queuing up.
Because you've got a good fan base, haven't you? So you wanted, you were a thinner one with them.
No, they're really short. That's a nice one.
I need a short.
I've got one right now.
I've got 2 bags in actually.
That's nice.
When we break, it's rubbish.
The thing is, like,
I'll have to remember to come here now because I do need another one.
Can you price that one?
no, please. The thinner version of that new one, that's $250. So that one would cost us quite dear. That's about 190. Solid.
Now there's those ginger,
The
the curbs.
The thing was, in the years gone by, people relied on one thing. They relied on information passed down by granny and granddad on your medical. Nowadays, you don't have that. We used to say, well, if you mix this, a bit of rosehip syrup with a bit of this, rub it on your chest or drink it, it'll help your asthma. Now, what was it? It was rosehip syrup and you mixed another thing with it.
Was it honey?
Honey, rosehip and honey and with asthma.
What am I on for?
Yeah, well, honey isn't much as
I bore everybody with. I'll tell you one that my grandma told me to get rid of all the guitar. I could peck you on a wine and silver squirrels. Can you say that?
I'll acquire a wine, silver squirrels.
I peck you on a wine and silver squirrels. And what it does, you take it and it breaks everything down and you bring it back up. And it cured all coughs and colds. The chemist used to laugh at me when I went in. They used to mix it for me.
So I'm on the market, I'm doing okay. I've decided to go open my shop, and then I come in this shop, and then as you're going through the businesses, you meet people like I meet people who can do things for you, people who can alter things, and then you can do things yourself. So you train yourself. I mean, do I know about jewellery? You bet your bottom dollar I know all about jewellery. I can tell you like that a diamond, the light enters a diamond at 250,000 miles per second and goes out at 125 miles per second. But it doesn't go through it, it goes to the left. And how do I know that? Because if you put a stick in the water, look down the stick, you can see the light if it's broke, because the light's shooting off it. So they're things you learn, not because I went to university, or I learned that because I was interested in finding out. And that's how you learn about stones, and then you learn about repairs, you learn about watches, and slowly, so you become a jack of all trades, but master of none.
I've been a jobbing jeweller since 1975. I can't work out how long that is, but there we go. So all we're going to do now is just easily, the claws are all here. It's quite a simple job. You just put in the CZ into the silver setting, and then we just ease down the claws. Check the other side's okay for the customer.
Cliff had just moved from London, from Hatton Garden, believe it or not. Top area where there's people in London he knows and worked with for 20 years, but he moved out. So I met him, he comes knocking, saying to me, "Do you want a repair, man?" We had a chat. Hit it off right away. We've had our little bits and ups and downs. And I said, all right, so he started doing the repairs. Well, not one for missing an opportunity. I thought, well, he's as close as a cigarette paper around the cigarette.
Made to go in there. It's alright, isn't it?
That's good, that, yeah. That looks good, yeah.
I'll see you later.
That's good.
That's it, turn it. And then there's that L back, got a glued on, but there's no guarantee on that, Jack.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's okay. Morning. Morning. Your ring's just back now. Yeah, that's that. The books, that's it. What they've made this ridiculous. The last time I was on Salford Market, which was many, many years ago, I had a bit of a scare. I went upstairs and paid me money to stand, and they said stand down the outside by the ring road, that's the only place you can stand. So we're standing there, we put the van away, and I was with Danny and Barry, and I said to Danny, go and get the breakfast while we put the stuff out. So I went and parked the car, and when I come back, Barry said, I think we're going to have to go. He said, we've had 3 or 4 guys there, and they look awfully like they're in it for grabbing something, he said, because they said, is this real? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll go and get the van. So I went and got the van, come back, and these guys are coming over the wall, and whatever they had in their pockets, I think it wasn't ice creams, it was probably guns. Anyway, they come over the wall looking at us, and then next thing, I said to my Barry, start putting the stuff, I brought the van back. I said, where's Danny? He said, he's gone for, did we come off here for Salford one, I think, yes. Let me just go this side. I said, where's Danny? He said, he's gone for the breakfast and everything in these plastic containers. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll just park the car. I said, you start putting the stuff in. And just then the manager of Salford Miles passing. I said, we're going. I said, I think we're going to be it today or something, I'm not sure. He said, that's all right. He said, you carry on. He said, I thought you were brave coming at the times you come. He said, it is rough. Anyway, we got the stuff in, they come over the wall, and I said to our Barry, I said, what did he say then, that guy? And I read his lips, he said, oh, they're going, look, quick. He said, they're going. I said, that's it. Yeah, they said that, and then they run after us, and when we got away, we finished up eating breakfast on the way round, messing around as you do. Eating the brekkie, and I said, that's not ruin the day. It was a Friday. I said, let's go to Earlstown Market and see if we can get on there, which we did eventually. But it was a frightening. That was the last time I actually done Salford Market, because I realised that in them flats behind there was people there who wasn't healthy for us. There you go.
But for anyone that's older my age knows that all the big shops like Woolworths, with the penny arcades, even Marks and Sparks, some of these big supermarkets are starting to wobble a bit because people are changing the way they want to shop. I think that Asda and people like that, and the Co-op was a classic example. They were a big unit. All these shops, I remember Burton's, the tailors, they had a shop in every town. Gone. There used to be solo vibraries and so big, but we built a new market now. And the ring road round, I used to stand on the ring road outside, and that ring road's been taken away now. There's still the railings are outside. Your nan's rolling the roost upstairs. Right. I better shift all this rubbish, shouldn't I? Or do you want to put me on this? When my mother died, it was like a brick wall, bang! Because it was an early one, my first family. And that, it's very difficult to get over that first one, it takes a bit of time. Because when it first happens to you, it's like unbelievable, you can't believe it, and you want everything to go back to the way it was. But unfortunately, you can't, but then you get what you call, you go in 4 stages. The first stage is you're sad. then you get a bit angry, melancholy, then you get a bit bitter, and then you want to fight back, and then you're on your way being back to being what you should be.
This will last day, July's rent. I paid this today, £746 that needs paid today. And this other bill, which is, have a look where I put it, the electric bill. One minute here. £746 rent. Is that July's? Yes, that's July's. That's going to be paid today. And this one here is the electric, £24 for April, June. And that one is July. So that total on that would be just under 766, 770, 723 altogether. So we need to get 723. And we'll send that over for payment. Are you alright? Come and ask me as well.
Now people might say to me, nowadays they do, and they say like, you've done well for yourself, and you know, and as if I've got two heads. I'm not different. I was cautious, I was careful, and I spent more than I earned. I went them days where I never made any money, but when I had a good week, I always remember the week gone. So I had one good week and one bad. So when I put them together, it become two average weeks. And that's the thinking mentality. Because you can't live. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. You live today. That's it. Today's the day. When I go bed tonight, I'm with it. Because when I get in my bed like that, till I wake up in the morning, we're together, mate. Whether you like it or not, we're together with everyone. And when I was a young lad, I used to think, must be fantastic in heaven with Stanley Matthews and all them famous footballers. And maybe it is, maybe the Beatles, whoever died. So all them things, it's about, you know, I could say the modern clinch. If it don't mind, it don't matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. It does matter. It hurts and does all them things. But you've got this brain here, you can let it blow a fuse or you can put it into practicality. The practical thing is birth, marriage, death is what we register in life, because that's what life's about. You register the birth, you register the marriage, you register the death. But if you was to say to me, knowing how she died within a few hours, she was in my arms, would I have her back? Because her heart stopped twice, a breathing stopped twice. I remember what they said about my dad. His heart stopped. And my Auntie Mary, who was a wise old owl with my Uncle Rio, she said, no, I wouldn't want him back. Because in them days there was no cure for someone who had a stroke and things. It was not like today, they can have a bit of help. If your breathing stops. And then my Uncle Rio said to me when my father died, he said, oh God, I hope I'm next. Now, that's how much it hurt him. But I don't say that. I want to be last. Now, you might think that's greedy, but you don't want to see anyone die. You don't want to see your kids die in front of you. What I've learned about death is you can't premeditate when it's going to happen, and you wouldn't want to. Because if I could bring my wife back and sit her here now and say you've got another 3 months, but I know in 3 months you die, oh, I'd sooner have it the way it was. It was quick for her, it was not very nice, but it was quick and peaceful.